I'm Sarah Katz. Do you want to live a more optimistic life? Well, I'm here to help. In this podcast, I'll be discussing a variety of topics, such as positivity, motivation, and self-love, to ultimately inspire you to live your best and blessed life. So, let's chat. This is... Hello, all my wonderful Skatz Chats friends out there, friends, fans, family. You guys are all just so amazing. But hello! Welcome back to another fun and positively positive episode of Skatz Chats. Thank you all so much for coming back to us and listening to another episode. I really, really appreciate it. And I want to ask, how are you? I hope you said good or great or amazing. I hope you're having the most wonderful day. I know I can't hear you on the other side, but I hope it was a positive answer. And if it's not, you know what? You can always turn it around. There's always still a chance to turn your attitude around to be a more positive one or be optimistic. So, we announced on social media, I'm sure all of you saw, or most of you at least, that Season 1 of Skatz Chats podcast will be ending, or our last episode of Season 1 will be airing on November 24th, and that is 2 weeks away from the launch date of this podcast here. So we have two more episodes left of our season, but I'm going to be taking a little break for the holidays, just slow down, relax, spend some time. I could be gone, for a little bit past the holidays as well, but definitely just want to take a break and realign my focus, if that makes sense. But just want to let you all know that Season 1, our last episode of the season, will be on November 24th. So stay tuned for that. But for today, we're focusing on our amazing episode with April Simons. Now, I had so much fun chatting with April. She is such a positive joy and light and spirit. Even, I myself gained a lot of wisdom from her. In this interview, we talked about the power of focus, all things positivity, and about her book, Better Than Ever. I mean, she's not only an author, she's a hope coach, a television co-host as well. She is a fellow podcaster just like me, and she just does it all. She's an amazing lady to know, and I'm just so thankful and blessed that I was able to chat with her. So if you're ready to listen to this interview, stay tuned, and let's hear it. Let's hear my chat with April Simons. Welcome, everyone, back to Skatz Chat. So we have April here joining us all the way from Texas. April, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here. Excited about this podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, give a little intro about yourself. What do you do? What's kind of your background and what's your career like?
Well, I'm mom of 5 kids. They're grown now. I have 2 grandbabies. I travel and speak for a living. I like to say I'm a hope coach, a hope dealer. I just give out hope everywhere I go. And just got back from Florida last night and spoke to a women's conference and then a church there. And it just had such a great time. So that's basically what I do. And I love every minute of it.
That's awesome. I love the title Hope Coach. About your new book too. What was kind of the inspiration about this book, or just tell us a little bit about it first?
Well, the book is called Better Than Ever, and the subtitle is Get Your Happy Back, Stress Less, and Enjoy Every Day. I mean, who doesn't want to get their happy back?
Love
stress
it.
less. And when I was writing it, I realized we all get busy in life, and there's always every single day an opportunity to be stressed out, to be overwhelmed. We have obstacles that come our way. Bad things happen to good people. And I realized that the circumstances of life don't have to override the calm that's within us. The circumstances of life don't have to dictate what kind of day we have. So I took a bunch of personal stories and I just kind of incorporated how we could rise above. And in the midst of a bad situation, not denying what's going on around us, but choose to take on happy, choose to take on joy, choose to see the sunny side of the street. You can either be negative or you can be positive. You know this. You talk about positivity, and we can choose to be positive. It's a choice that we have to make.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely agree. And yeah, we have the power in us to make that choice. So definitely.
Right.
That's cool. And you talk about some stories and stuff like that. Are their personal stories that you've been through?
They are. Raising a bunch of kids, you have a bunch of stories.
I'm sure. Yes.
So I just, from the busy mom, from the entrepreneur, from the CEO, just whatever aspect of life you're in, it just, I wrote it to just kind of inspire us to just rise higher in life and to take our lives back and not let life run us over, to not get so busy being a human doing that we lose sight of being a human being and enjoying the moments of life, because we can get wrapped up in the junk around us. I even think about a mom with young kids that life gets messy, literally messy. And sometimes you focus so much on the messy that you don't enjoy today. So that's what it's all about.
There's things in life that can knock us down,
Yeah.
and it's our choice to rise above that.
Right. Exactly. It's important.
Yeah,
we have
exactly.
to make the choice.
Yeah. So I know in your book, you mentioned the power of focus. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and what that means?
Well, where your focus is, that's where your energy goes. And so I tell a story in the book, and I'll just tell it briefly, but I was on a flight coming home from London several years ago. Two of my daughters were sitting in the row in front of me. And we had, had a great trip flying home. The pilot comes on and says, within the next 25 minutes, we're going to land. So prepare for landing. So, within a few minutes of him saying that, we had a drop. And it was a pretty extreme drop. And, our stomachs, we felt like we were on a roller coaster. And, everybody kind of went, woo, like that. And, it's a little bit scary, but a little bit fun at the same time. Within 30 seconds of that, we had another drop that was substantially bigger. And people weren't really laughing anymore. And then within the next 30 seconds, we had another major drop. And I have to say, it was pretty scary. And in my mind, if I look at the flight attendants and they're okay, then I'm okay. And so I looked at the flight attendants and they're scurrying around trying to get in their seats and belted. And I thought, okay, we got to pray right now. My daughter's drink from the row in front of me lifted up and landed right on top of me, went over the seat. That's how substantial the drop was.
Wow.
So, I began to sit there and pray. I mean, I was greatly concerned. Long story short, obviously we made it. And, Sarah, for the next few weeks, I talked about that story. I talked about, how, man, we had these 20 minutes of turbulence. It looked so bad. It was scary. And, I must have said that to a dozen people. And then one day I was walking and I just kind of started thinking about the situation. And I thought, how long was my flight? It was 9 hours. How long was the turbulence? 20 minutes. And I realized that instead of focusing on the 8 hours and 40 minutes of absolute peace, I chose to focus on the 20 minutes of turbulence. And how often does that happen in our lives? We have things that are going on that are challenging, maybe in relationships, maybe in our family life. And, sure, it's easy to focus on that. But I've just discovered in the midst of all the yuck, we can find that at least one good thing to focus on. If it's even as simple as, what, God, I thank you I woke up this morning. I thank you that I have breath in my lungs. I thank you that I have another chance at another day. Because you know what? Some people weren't afforded that luxury. Some people didn't make it to today. So the power of focus. Are you going to focus on all your mistakes? Or are you going to focus on, hey, I get another chance today? Are you going to focus on all the bad? Or are you going to look for the good? Are you going to focus on the negative? Or are you going to find that one ray of hope, that positive? And if we adjust our focus, we really can find the good. You really can find the good. You might have to search a little bit, but you can find it and choose to dwell on that good. Choose to dwell on the positive, because you know what? It makes you go from having a bad day to having a better day, which is what my book's all about. And just because you have a bad day doesn't mean the whole week has to be bad. Just because you have a bad moment doesn't mean the whole day has to be bad. So you see, we know this, but it's good to discover it again. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. So there's power in focus. If we can just every day choose to focus on the right things, it makes our days better.
I love that. And what was that quote that you said? Where our focus goes, our energy flows.
Yes. Yes. And it's so true. You think about it. And if you think about that, what you think about starts to get down in your heart. And what's in your heart, the scripture says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So your words begin to frame your world. And I like to say it like this: the words that you speak become the house that you live in. So, I mean, it all starts with focus, thinking, coming down to the heart, coming out of the mouth, and you create your world by what comes out of your mouth. But it starts up here, so focus is one of the most important things that we just need to adjust and tweak. And sometimes we have to tweak it every single day, and that's okay. We are always a work in progress. None of us have ever arrived. It's a constant thing. Sometimes it's a hourly thing. But if we choose to take our lives back, I say it like this: life has no remote control. You got to get up and change it yourself. Mm-hmm. So choose to guard your focus.
I think that takes, for some people, it could be a short amount of time for them to readjust, or it could take a long time over a larger period of time, I guess. But it's interesting to me how I guess we're so automatically focused, or we tend to focus on the negative stuff,
Yeah.
And it's harder to focus on the positive, I guess.
It is. And that's why, it's, some people say this, I didn't come from a positive family. I didn't come from a family that encouraged me. I didn't come from a loving family. Some people say this: it's ingrained in me to see the glass half empty. And you know what? That's okay. But this is what I've discovered, Sarah. We can all change. It just, we don't change. We don't change automatically. We change by choice. It's a decision that we make. You know what? It ran in the family until it ran into me. And so I can choose today to make things differently. I can choose today to start seeing the positive. It's not denying that bad things aren't happening around us. It's we're choosing to find the good in the midst of the bad. So, it is true. It's easy to start negative, but, positive people have negative thoughts too. They just don't allow those thoughts to dictate what kind of day they're going to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. And I think if people learn to be positive people just like that, like we can not let those negative thoughts dictate, how we think in our lives and our decisions and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I was listening to some of your episodes today, and it's just good. Life is much happier when we're positive.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we still need to be, aware of the reality, and the reality may not be, whatever situation we might be in, it may not be a positive one. We have to keep in mind that, but, I think in a way, maybe people sometimes think that being positive might be being naive in some cases, but I think ultimately, if it helps us in our attitude be better toward the situation, then why not, I guess. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, and that's another point. Attitude is everything, I mean, your attitude to life is just everything. It gets you from a bad day to a good day. So it's all these things that are kind of joined together. And I know this: anybody can change for the better. And life, every day, we should constantly be striving to have a better today than we had yesterday. So it's just that getting that fortitude that, I can do this. I can make my life better. Because it's not just about us. What we believe defines who we are, and who we are affects and impacts generations to come. So who we choose to be is more than likely who our kids are going to be. How we choose to respond or react affects our kids. And so they're not going to be exactly like you, but if you walk on the sunny side of the street, they're probably going to walk on the sunny side of the street. So it's important. It's not just about us.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with all that. Yeah. And instilling it in future generations, and helping people realize that, it really can make a difference, even if you just try, like, one day at a time.
Yeah.
Over time, you can build that attitude.
Right. And that's a good way to make it practical. It doesn't have to all happen in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Just choose one area every single day. You know what? Today, I'm not going to say negative things. That's something you can start out with. Today, I'm going to not talk about what's going wrong in my life. I'm going to choose to talk about what's going right in my life. So it's just a choice, that one choice every day. I love that. I think that's a great something we can do every day.
Yeah, that's all awesome. I, definitely talk about that here on the pod as well. And you have your own podcast as well, correct?
I do. I have a podcast called Better.
I love that. Yeah, exactly.
So, I have a new episode every week that comes out.
Perfect. Yeah. I wanted to ask also, because I know there are some people who, do want to become published authors. I would like to write a book eventually myself too, but do you have any advice for people who do want to write their own book? And how was that process for you?
Well, I think it's great. Anybody who wants to write, and I think they should go for it. For me, I set aside February of last year
Mm-hmm.
to write my book. I didn't know COVID was coming the next month, but that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I did? I designated time every single day to write my book. So for 8 hours, sometimes 10 hours. And it's kind of like, I like to say, putting feet to your faith. I didn't have the title exactly, but I knew what I wanted to talk about. And sometimes it's hard for those who want to write. Sometimes it's hard to initially get started. But you know what you do? You just sit down and say, I'm going to get started. You just start writing. And eventually it will come together. And but it takes, just doing it consistently every single day. And I just discovered that once I started, I couldn't wait to get up and start writing. I had to make myself stop at night. And once you get in the flow, it just gets easier. Now, I'm not saying that happens every single time, but that's how it happened for me. And if people want to write a book, they should just go for it. I mean, there's so many great books out there. Don't compare yourself with other authors. Don't compare your story. If you have a story to tell, then tell it.
Kind of goes along with procrastination, like people wanting to do something, but not willing to actually start it. And that was me, I guess, applying for full-time jobs too, because had just recently graduated college and things like that. So, I think you really just have to like sit down and do something that you want to do and not overthink about it too much. And once, like you said, you're in the zone, you're in the flow, you want to keep going and keep doing it.
Oh, that's so good. You cannot overthink it, because overthinking will keep you from what you're supposed to do in life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. That's a key point right there.
Yeah, definitely. How did you, I guess, kind of come up, because I know it's a compilation of different life stories and things like that, but how did you initially come up with the idea of the book?
Well, I knew I wanted to write it. And I just, once I kind of got in the flow, I realized my title, that life really can be better than ever. So I just started thinking, I do some of my best thinking when I go walking. And so I would go walking and I think about different stories. I'd go way back and I'd come home and I'd just jot down some notes. So that could be something for your listeners. If they just start jotting down some ideas, jotting down some stories, jotting down if they, start researching whatever they want to write on, and just every day determine, they may say, well, I have a 9 to 5. Well, get up at 5 o'clock and write for 30 minutes or write for an hour. Even if you sit there and you don't have anything to write, at least you're getting yourself in the discipline of writing. This is my write time. I want to be an author. I want a book to come out. So it's kind of putting that goal before you. And then, I'm real big on declarations, affirmations, and then putting a vision in front of me. I have it on my iPad. I have my vision, what I'd like, and I go over it every single day. And so, if you put something before you, then you'll more than likely, it goes back to focus. This is what I want to see, and give yourself a time frame. I'd like to see this out by a year from now or 6 months from now. You can self-publish and get it out fast. Then put that time frame and then start working it. You got to work it. It's not just going to fall in your lap. You got to work it every single day.
I mentioned that, I don't know which episode it was, but I mentioned it recently where, you can, like you said, just like make a vision board and things like that and affirmations, but you kind of have to meet yourself halfway at the same time. Like you have to put in the work too.
You do. And you have to not give yourself unrealistic expectations. Don't set yourself up to fail. Set yourself up to succeed. Be realistic about it. But the thing is this, you got to talk to yourself like you can do it. You talk to yourself more than any person you talk to in the whole wide world. You got to talk to yourself like you're an author. Talk to yourself like, that you can do this. See yourself with a book in your hand. See yourself talking about it on social media. So it's putting feet to your faith. It's believing in yourself. It's not talking yourself out of it or thinking yourself out of it, but it's talking to yourself like you're going to do it and it's going to be a success.
Yeah. And to just truly believe in yourself too, at the same time. I think, people it's like that negative self-talk too. And it all goes down to focus again, it's just stop negative self-talk. And that's a hard process to go through too.
It is, but they can do it. It goes back to just, changing the narrative in your mind, changing the narrative, what you do and what you say to yourself every single morning. If it requires you putting something up on your mirror, then do that. Whatever it takes. Everybody's at a different place in life. So some people don't have to do that as much. Some people have to do it more. So I would say, just just like you said, talk to yourself like it's someone that matters. And then make sure you surround yourself with people who believe in you, people who cheer you on. But Sarah, we don't always have the people around us that cheer us on. So we got to be able to cheer ourselves on. Mm-hmm. We got to be our biggest fan. We got to say, you know what, April, you can do this. You know what, you can write this thing. You won't always have your little section that is applauding you. So learn to applaud yourself. It's not getting a big head. It's knowing that you were created to do some great things, and then just go after it. Don't leave your giftings and talents on the table.
Yeah, I love that. Exactly. We have to be our biggest fans sometimes. Exactly.
Right. Exactly. I have a whole chapter in the book about that.
Hey, well, there you go. And speaking of that too, where can people out there find your book?
Well, they can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, anywhere books are sold, they can find it. They can also go to my website, aprilsimons.com, push a button there and order it. So awesome. It's real easy.
Easy to access. Yes, we love that.
It is. Yeah.
Perfect. And where can people find you as well on social media and things like that?
Instagram, Twitter, I'm April O. Simons, 1M, Simons. And Facebook, I think it's under April Osteen Simons. So my website, aprilsimons.com. You can find me pretty much anywhere there.
Awesome. And your podcast again is?
It's the Better Podcast. It's on all podcast platforms. I'm also doing it on YouTube now at April Osteen Simons.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, April. This was such a treat. And thank you for sharing, your wisdom and everything like that. And your positivity. I feel like you just radiate positivity. So I think that really helps people and, helps people, especially who you're coaching and things like that too.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. You're doing an amazing job. So I wish you the best.
Yeah. Thank you so much. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you loved that interview and I hope you gained so much just wisdom and guidance from April. And like she said, her book, Better Than Ever, is available wherever you buy books. So it's easy and just quick and accessible for you to purchase. So I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I enjoyed talking to April. And just to let you know, once again, we are on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as well at Skatz Chats. And we would love if you would just spread the word to your family and friends about this podcast, or even write us a review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps spread the word to other podcast listeners who listen to other mental health podcasts. Why not throw this one in the mix, right? So that's all the time we have for today, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic day, and just remember to stay positive, keep going. You got this. If you ever need a reminder, I am just one email or one DM away. All right, so have a great day, stay safe, and I'll see you next time for the next episode on November 24th. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to Skatz Chats. If you'd like to request a topic of discussion, head over to our website at www.skatzchats.com. The Skatz Chats logo is designed by Nkartz, and our theme song is written and produced by Daddy Lacus.